Anti-Obamacare Republicans just can't seem to catch a break. Now, just a day after the Senate voted to, tried and failed, by the way, to kill Trump care, first, after advancing it to debate with 50 votes, plus Mike Pence doing the tiebreaker vote, the Senate also failed to repeal some of the major pieces of Obamacare. So first they try to advance Trump care after they got it into debate. That failed. And then, well, they tried to do a full just repeal of Obamacare, or what they could get rid of, using only 50 votes. That also failed, and now they're trying something else. Now, let me give you some of the details here from the Washington Post about that first full repeal attempt. Now, 7 Republican senators had joined Democrats to vote against that measure that would have left millions of people without health insurance coverage. Now, according to the CBO, a full repeal of Obamacare would kick 32 million people off their health insurance. So that's the numbers on that, okay? At CBO, like I said, they already ran these numbers, and they found 32 million people. No wonder 7 Republicans were like, yeah, we can't vote for that. Including, again, John McCain, who's like, I can't vote for a complete repeal. We got to have something. Even if it's completely crappy, we got to have at least something. So again, I guess a little bit of credit to John McCain, even though I went after him pretty heavily yesterday. Now, the Post continues. The rejection of what they called a clean repeal laid bare the deep divisions within the Republican caucus about how best to proceed. The night before, 9 Republicans, including both conservatives and moderates, voted against a comprehensive legislation to repeal the health care law and provide a replacement. That replacement would have kicked 22 million people off their health insurance and raised premiums by quite a bit. And also would have hurt people with pre-existing conditions. And then you had the Cruz Amendment, as well as the Portman Amendment. Portman Amendment would have actually put more money into people who are going to lose Medicaid to help subsidize them, which, hey, at least thanks for the thought. And the Cruz Amendment would allow insurance companies to sell more junk insurance plans, which are not comprehensive, which don't really cover everything, as long as they actually also offer a plan that does offer more comprehensive coverage. So there's that, right? So, okay, so they voted against Trump care, and they also voted against a clean repeal. So what this tells me is basically they don't know what the fuck they're doing. Now, look, you guys had this long to figure it out. It shouldn't be this hard. It's almost like maybe they didn't mean it when they said repeal and replace, or just repeal Obamacare, because they don't have the votes for it. Now, remember all the times they voted in the House and you know, in order to, like, oh, we're gonna repeal Obamacare, we'll rip it out root and stem, and they voted for it because they knew it had no chance of passing. And now that it actually does have a chance of passing, they can get 50 votes. As long as they get 50 votes, and you can have Mike Pence be the tiebreaker, and go in and you know, send the legislation over the edge, and you can pass whatever you want through reconciliation, which is how they're trying to do it. And there are, of course, special arcane rules for what you can pass through reconciliation. Like, you can't actually do a full on Obamacare repeal, but you can essentially gut the law through reconciliation. And that's what they've been trying to do, but they can't even do that. So it's funny because it's almost like Obamacare was their plan for the start. But those damn centrist Democrats and that damn Obama had to come and steal it. And then leave them without any sort of backup plan. Weird how that works, right? So now what's next? Well, they're not done with this. Not by a long shot. Sure, their repeal and replace failed. Their repeal failed, fell flat on its face. What else can they actually do? Well, now they're looking at what they're calling a skinny repeal. Now, what's that? Again, it's not a full repeal. I go to the Washington Post. They'll explain. Without the votes to replace the health law, or simply to repeal major parts of it, Senate Republicans appeared increasingly likely to try to pass a modest measure that would repeal only a few provisions of the law, such as the tax on medical devices and the requirements that most individuals have insurance and that large employers offer coverage to workers. So basically, summed up, They want to get rid of the individual mandate. That's been a target for them, of course. Now, that keeps the entire law afloat. So, I mean, look, the individual mandate, I understand, is very unpopular because it levies a penalty on people who don't get insurance. Now, the whole reason for the mandate is to stabilize markets. If you have to buy in health insurance, as a healthy person, you help balance out people who are sick. That's how insurance is supposed to work. Because insurance, people who are, who have pre-existing conditions, who are sick, they end up taking out more money through insurance than what they put in. And if you don't have healthy people to balance it out, that's going to drive up premiums to the point of where people who need the insurance are not going to be able to afford it. People with cancer, people with diabetes, people who have any sort of special condition or pre-existing condition. It's going to, again, drive it to the point of where they can't afford their insurance, and that's going to completely wreck the market. That's why there is an individual mandate inside of Obamacare. As unpopular as it is, and I understand why, it was there for a reason, to stabilize the markets. But anyway, now they also want to get rid of course, mandatory coverage by employers. So in the law, they said, hey man, look, if you have a certain number of employees, you need to cover them with health insurance. Okay. A lot of employers obviously didn't like that. So, and the Republicans also don't like that, who are funded by those employers, by those companies. They are the party of business. Now, another part that they got rid of is this tax, right? Or they want to get rid of is the tax on medical devices, okay? Essentially, that's a tax cut on rich people, okay? So, there's all that. Now, you probably wonder, how's that going to work out? Well, actually, I have an answer. And it's not just me. It's the CBO that has an answer, actually. They looked at that, and they found that if you removed some of these provisions and did the skinny repeal, the number of uninsured people would actually increase by 15 million people next year. Okay, so you might think, hey man, look, 15 million people, they're going to lose their insurance, but at least my premiums will get cheaper now that I don't have that individual mandate, right? Well, no. According to the analysis, health insurance premiums will actually increase by over 20%. So those of you, yeah, you'll have the option of not buying insurance, but for the people who are buying insurance, who are paying for insurance, their premiums are going to go up by 20%. Wait, now, wasn't the whole point of repeal and replace or repeal or all the bullshit that they're doing, isn't that supposed to lower premiums? No. Look, I know that's not the point. The point is to sabotage the law. Now, the law, look, Obamacare, we know it's not perfect, okay? But for a lot of people, it is actually working, at least compared to what was before, which was massively not working. Now, if the Republicans sabotage it, basically what it's going to do, their whole intent is to sabotage it so that they can justify getting rid of the whole thing later. And they can actually maybe get some Democratic support, or in 2018, win enough seats in the Senate so that they can, do a bill without having to worry about a filibuster. So you can have a filibuster-proof majority, so you can finally get rid of the scourge of Obamacare and cut taxes on rich people. Okay, so that's what they're going to do. Now, Republicans are like, no, that's not what we're doing at all. That's not the point. No, we just want to get the two sides together. That's what we're doing this for. According to Senator Bob Corker, Republican of Tennessee, he says, I think people would look at it not necessarily based on its content, what they're trying to pass, but as a forcing mechanism to cause the two sides of the building to try to come together and solve it together. Oh, see, no, this is their attempt at being bipartisan. You know what's going to happen? Yeah, not that. Now, how stupid do these Republicans think we are? No. I got an idea. You come to us. We're not going to come to you. Your plans have failed. They're incredibly unpopular. Even with majorities in the government, you still cannot get any of this done. Sure, the Democrats could filibuster. They have the power to filibuster a normal repeal bill, right? That's why you have to do this budget reconciliation, which locks out. I mean, you didn't have to do budget reconciliation. You could have went to the Democrats and said, all right, we want to make some changes to Obamacare. Would you want to work with us? But they didn't even want to try that because they're not interested in working with the Democrats. At least they weren't when they started budget reconciliation. Then they realized, shit, our party's fucked. We have so many disagreements, we can't agree on what to do, on what our replacement bill is even going to look like. So now they actually are trying to do this, to do the skinny repeal, to sabotage the law so they can bring the Democrats over to the table. Wonderful. Look, you guys never wanted to work with the Democrats in the first place. So, no, fuck you. Fuck off, Bob Corker. We're not interested. Not interested in helping you. Now, look, if you want to come to our side and apply some fixes to the ACA to make it a little bit better, great. Welcome. But look, even that's a Band-Aid because the real solution to the problems inherent in Obamacare go far beyond simple fixes. I believe that only changing the system to a Medicare for all, single-payer universal healthcare system is the real fix for the problems that face the healthcare industry today. But, hey, at least fixing the ACA would be a little bit of a start. At least that's what the voters want you to do. According to an ABC News Washington Post poll, 61% of respondents want Obamacare fixed instead of repealed or replaced. A Monmouth University poll conducted back in May found that 51% of Americans would prefer to keep and work to improve the ACA. And finally, a Kaiser Health tracking poll found that Obamacare has over 50% approval rating. So why should we come to you? Especially when your plans have at best 20% approval. Look, the American people, they know the flaws in Obamacare, okay? And what they want to do is they want to actually fix them. And there's actually a good majority of the people that actually want to either expand it or switch to a Medicare for all system. So, again, tell me why the Democrats should work with you, Bob Corker. Tell me, Mitch McConnell, why should the Democrats work with you? Republicans can't even work with each other. While even progressives agree, right? Progressives and liberals. Everybody talks about the schism there, and trust me, there is. Look, even liberals and progressives, you know, centrist Democrats, corporate Democrats, even we can get together and say, okay, let's at least make some fixes to the ACA so we don't fuck over people. We're still going to push for Medicare for all. But God, let's do something to help in the meantime until we can get to that point. Okay? Because, look, we actually give a shit about the people. Unlike some Republicans, all they want to do is punch poor people in the face so they can get a tax cut. Now, one more thing that's very interesting about this skinny repeal is, look, Republicans, how do they feel about this? Again, this is their plan. This is what they're going to try to do. Now, I have some quotes here. Now, this is from Senator Bill Cassidy, he's Republican from Louisiana. He articulated this. Let's pass something, and we can figure out something later. Passing Friday's bill, which is when they plan to vote for the skinny repeal, he said moves the process forward, but it's not going to be the final law. No. We're just going to get something. Let's just do something, okay? Senator John Thune said, quote, there's a big difference between voting on something at the beginning of the process and voting on something at the end of the process when it's only the train leaving the station. So basically, I don't know, we're just pushing something forward. If we can do the skinny repeal, great. Senator Bob Corker, again, said, in the Senate thus far, the approach was to be aspirational. That would not be the case here. What would be the case here would be to get to the lowest common denominator. Well, you would know all about the lowest common denominator, Mr. Corker. And then, of course, you have Senator Suzanne Collins, who had some disagreements about the process of this entire skinny repeal. She said, everybody keeps asking me if I'm going to support the skinny repeal amendment. To which I say, I have no idea what's going to be in it. So, look, there's the mood in the Senate. That's the Republicans. So, from what I gather, I think it's safe to say that the whole thing, at this point, is not going well. And who knows what they're going to actually be able to accomplish, if anything. Hey everybody, thanks for watching this video. If you want to see more like this, please hit the subscribe button below. And if you want to support truly independent progressive media, please consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/TYTNation.